psyche, which had become proper to the presences exclusively of those peculiar three-brained beings. As I had nothing particular to do at this time on the planet Mars, I decided to wind up without delay my current affairs and personally to descend to your planet, and there, on the spot, at any cost, to elucidate this question which had always troubled me, in order that, having solved it, I might no longer think about these phenomena of our great universe. Several Martian days later, I just flew there, as always on the same ship occasion. We decided to descend this time onto the continent Asia near the locality called Afghanistan, since before we had flown off, we had made it clear through our Tescaano that the turn of the process of reciprocal destruction was proceeding at that time in just the said country. Having descended onto the locality near this Afghanistan, we decided to send our ship occasion for mooring somewhere further from those places where your favorites had recently been breeding. You must know that to find a suitable mooring place for our ship occasion on the surface of your planet has already in recent times become anything but easy, since your favorites have furnished themselves with very many kinds of contrivances for what is called marine locomotion, which contrivances they also call ships, and these ships of theirs are constantly flitting about in all directions, mostly around the continents. We had, it is true, the possibility of making our ship occasion invisible to their organs of perception of visibility, but we could not annihilate its presence, and without this, it could not remain stationary on the water from the constant danger that their ships might bump into it. Well, for this reason, we this time decided to send our ship for mooring to what is called the North Pole, where their ships have as yet no possibility of going. While we were descending onto the surface of this planet of yours, the process of reciprocal destruction which had been proceeding in Afghanistan finished. But all the same, I remained to exist near this Afghanistan, as it was just on that part of the continent Asia that at that period these processes of theirs most frequently proceeded. Since I had in view, on this last personal flight of mine onto the surface of your planet, to obtain without fail a complete awareness of the causes of the questions which were constantly troubling my essence, namely to make clear to myself the causes in all their aspects, why the psyche of those three-brained beings who please you has become such an anomaly. I did not, as I've already told you, soon return home to the planet Mars, as I did on previous occasions, but I remained to exist among your favorites about 300 of their years. As I now commence the narration of the information elucidating the state of the results already obtained from every cause in the common presences of the three-brained beings of the planet Earth which please you, my essence prompts me and animates my I, and all the separately spiritualized parts of my common presence, to emphasize, first of all, that during this last personal sojourn of mine on the surface of your planet, I had to study very seriously and even to elucidate experimentally the details not only of the psyche of single individuals of your favorites taken separately, but likewise the perceptions and manifestations of the psyche of these single individuals taken in a general mass, dependently upon the combinations of surrounding conditions and the results brought forth by them, and also upon their mutual reactions. For the purpose of these elucidating experiments of mine, I was even obliged this time to have recourse to the help of those branches of general knowledge which we call Samanoltorico, Gasometro no Torico, and Sakoki no Toriko. That is, to those branches, the similarities to which are found among your favorites also, these specialties being named medicine, physiology, and hypnotism. Just at the beginning of this sixth personal sojourn of mine, I soon categorically made clear, thanks to my experimental investigations, that most of the causes of the strangeness of their psyche are found not in that usual consciousness of theirs, in which alone they have already automatized themselves to exist in what is called their waking state, but in that consciousness of theirs which, thanks to their abnormal ordinary being existence, was gradually driven within their common presence, and which, although it should have been their real consciousness, yet remains in them in its primitive state and is called their subconsciousness. This subconsciousness is, however, just that part of their general psyche about which, do you remember? I have told you already that it was first noticed by the very saintly Ashiata Shiyamash, who constated that in that part of their psyche there are not yet atrophied the data for the fourth sacred impulse, which is named objective conscience. When I had chosen as the place of my fundamental existence the locality in the center of the continent Asia called Turkestan, I not only went from there to the places where the processes which interested me proceeded, but during the pauses or lulls in these processes, I also traveled a great deal, visiting almost all the continents, and during these travels I encountered beings of most, as they say, peoples. During these travels of mine, I remained nowhere for long, excepting in certain independent countries on the continent Asia called China, India, Tibet, and of course also that lately largest half-Asiatic, half-European community called Russia. In the beginning, I devoted all the time I had free from observations and investigations concerning the chief aim which I had set myself for this time, to the study of languages there, in order to have greater possibilities of better establishing everywhere corresponding relations with the beings of all types belonging to every kind of their peoples there. Maybe, my boy, you do not yet know that it is also on this ill-fated planet only that there exists the excessive absurdity which consists in this, that there, for mutual spoken relations among themselves, again thanks to the abnormal external conditions of their ordinary existence, there are as many diverse languages or dialects that have nothing in common with each other, as there are separate independent groups into which they have gradually become split. Whereas on all other planets of our great universe where three-brained beings breed, there is everywhere one common, what is called sound-manifesting mutual intercourse. Yes, and this polyglottism is also one of the characteristics and exclusive particularities of these strange three-brained beings who please you. And there, for every scrap of terra firma, or even for each insignificant independent group accidentally separated from each other, upon such a scrap there was formed by these strange beings, and there still continues to be formed, for spoken relations, a quite separate speech. Thanks to this, it now happens there on the planet Earth that if one of the inhabitants of any locality of this planet by chance finds himself in another place of the same planet, he has no possibility whatever of intercourse.